I'm a pretty casual superhero enjoyer. I like watching the movies and reading the comics from time to time, but I don't follow any comic book run actively since I like to stick to standalone stories for the most part. The act of trying to find the right spot to jump into a Spider-Man run alone can be daunting. With that all being said though, Batman's my main guy. I have always loved the backstory, the city, the gadgets. His whole premise speaks to me. A dark, gritty superhero with no real superpowers, other than his intellect and ridiculous training regimen to bring justice to Gotham City. A city that is probably the worst city to live in comic book history, right next to Marvel's New York. Bro, not only does the Green Goblin come around and try to kill you every week, but you gotta spend $3,000 minimum for a studio apartment. And the Hulk just threw your card. Now, like I said, I'm not the biggest superhero guy. The Arkham games were some of the only superhero games I actually played and paid attention to as a kid. To be honest, most of my Batman knowledge, especially while growing up, was from this trilogy. And for the longest time, I would tell people that these games were some of the best superhero games ever made. If not, the best. Yes, even including Arkham Knight. I know people have mixed feelings on that one, but still, I remember liking it at the time. But it's been years since I've played any of them, and I feel like it was time for me to finally do so and see if I was just talking out of my ass or if my ass was right all along. Also, I'm not talking about Arkham Knight today, but I do hope to do so in the future. It's just after beating City, I was already kinda Arkhamed out, so I wanted to take a little bit of a break. Also, I feel like Arkham Knight is just gonna be a whole video in of itself, so I'd rather just give it a dedicated video instead. So if you guys would like to see that one day, leave a like and subscribe so I know you guys would be down for it. And with that all being said, let's jump into... While I have played Asylum before, this is my first time really beating it. I mean, can you blame me? It came out when I was 9 and I couldn't beat it before my Blockbuster rental on it ran out, okay? So just leave me alone. So a majority of the game for me was a blind playthrough. I would remember bits and pieces, but nothing major. And as a blind playthrough, this game was a treat to play. I have some problems with it, but to be honest, most of the problems I have with it are because I know what the series becomes and not with the game itself. If there's anything that's going to pull newcomers into the series, it's gonna be the gameplay. I know that's what it was for me at the time, and that's what it was for a lot of people I know. Arkham Asylum set the standard for basically every superhero game moving forward. You punch people, you counter, and you use gadgets. It's pretty simple, but it's extremely engaging. To be honest, my biggest complaint regarding the combat is that at times it can feel very repetitive and sometimes even slow. Literally. The amount of slow-mo in this game started to drag the fights on so much more than I needed to. If anything, it made me feel bad for the enemies at times. I mean, I can tell how hard Batman punched that guy. He may not be dead, but I don't think he'll ever be the same.
Do you have any ibuprofen?
Also, at times, I think some of the combat scenarios felt very samey with very little enemy variation. You got guys with no weapons, guys with guns, guys with stun batons, and titans. And in the beginning, they're actually really fun to fight. But when every fight scenario is with the same variation of these 4 enemies, it can make the fights hard to distinguish. And the settings of each fight doesn't help either, but that's a topic for later. And you would think that maybe the Titans would remedy this problem, but sometimes they make it worse since every fight with a Titan is the same. Have them run at you, throw a batarang at them so they run into a wall, beat them till you can get on their back, and pretend that you're playing Crash of the Titans for the Wii like it's 2007. And while the combat is really fun, I do wish Batman could move just a little bit closer to his enemies while fighting. Just a little bit closer. So many times I would lose my combo because someone was 5 feet away from me instead of 4. And now I just swung at some air and looked like an idiot. But other than that, I really enjoyed this combat. It feels incredibly satisfying to beat some dude up until his brain is mush and counter his friend that was just trying to save him. The animations for the fighting is also amazing. I love the impact that every punch has and the counter animations that just flow beautifully into each other. It's so good. If nothing else, that's what makes the fighting engaging to me. Another aspect of the gameplay I wanted to mention that I don't see a lot of people showcase for the series is the stealth sections. I love stealth games, even if I suck at most of them. It's an aspect of Batman that I have always liked. He's in the shadows and he thrives in darkness, even if the game is lit to all hell. I mean, seriously, how do these guys not see me? What, are all your necks broken? Look up! While the stealth mechanics are, let's be honest, pretty bare bones, they're still really fun to play with. You can go into vents, you can get on these gargoyles and hang upside down and grab somebody to assassinate them. There are even times where the stealth is mandatory, which I liked since I enjoy a challenge like that. If nothing else, I love hearing the enemies freak out about how I disappeared and where I could possibly be while hanging upside down ready to snatch them up. Then there's the exploration. There is none. I mean, like, you have a little, but it's really not that much. The asylum is on a singular island with some buildings and sewer systems here and there. Each building has their own layouts and they're all very fun to run around in, but there's nothing really to do in them other than finding Riddler trophies or solving Riddler's riddles, which is what most of your exploring is going to be tied to. And while grabbing the trophies can be fun, they weren't fun enough for me to stick around and look for. There are interesting puzzles for them and they are fun to collect, like I said, just nothing that cool. The riddles you have to solve are actually pretty clever though, in my opinion. I love the fact that the devs went out of their way to include little Easter eggs of other characters and have them tied to riddles in some ways. Makes the whole world just feel a little bit more alive. Now you might be thinking, art direction? Where are we going? Okay, yeah, no, I'll stop. Art direction is something I think the Batman games really excel at all the way from the very beginning. Let's start with the island itself. Oh my god, it's disgusting. It looks decrepit. The colors are dark and grungy with a washed out green being what every aspect of the environment is painted with. While green is mostly associated with health and nature, here it's being used to show sickness and envy. The prisoners here are jealous of the people in the city being able to go about their days while they're stuck in the asylum. They're kept in extremely unpleasant cells surrounded by the worst of the worst just to waste away. This and the whole island is being taken over with this Titan serum throughout the course of the game. There's dirt and scratches on the wall, the floors have not been cleaned, there are books and glasses all over the floor, and I think I just stepped in dog poop. I don't think there's any dogs on this island. Asylum definitely has its atmosphere down packed. However, I think the suitcase is a little bit too packed though. While I love the green and the grunge, it can make some of the environments look a little bit samey. With every room and building having the same color palette, it sometimes feels like I'm exploring the same locations over and over again. It's not a horrible problem, but I do think it was a factor as to why I got lost at times, and why I feel like some of the combat scenarios felt like rehash after rehash of itself after just a few hours. What I'm trying to say is, while I love the art direction and the color palette, everything, I do think a little bit more variety in visuals would have helped differentiate areas from each other. That's why I think the Scarecrow sections of the game are so memorable. Not only are they fucking insane, I mean look at this shit, this is crazy, but because we're actually doing something different with the environment. The enemies have different models, we have more interesting terrain, we have different mechanics to deal with trying to avoid Scarecrow's gaze. It basically just grabs everything about Arkham Asylum and throws it on its head, which is awesome. I love that. I don't need this kind of variation to this extreme every time. Just some blue would be cool, you know? Arkham Asylum knows how to hook players in immediately. The game starts out, and I promise I'm not going to do a scene by scene of this entire game, just stick with me for a little bit. The game starts out with Batman bringing in the Joker to Arkham Asylum. No explanation on what Joker was doing, no reason given on how Batman got the Joker, no bullshit. The devs know that you know who Batman and Joker are. It doesn't matter what the Joker was doing. What matters is that Batman got him and brought him to Arkham Asylum, an asylum located on its own island away from Gotham City. And after seeing the kinds of people they have in here,
I've got your scent, Batman. I will hunt you down.
Yeah, we should probably put that island a little bit further away. And after a long, drawn-out exposition-filled walk with Joker being taken to his cell, you get separated and watch some random guy roll Joker further into the asylum. But wouldn't you know it, the Joker escapes, and then runs further into the asylum. Turns out, getting caught and brought in was all part of his plan, and it's up to Batman to stop him. From here, the story does not let up. You will be running around the asylum finding clues, beating up criminals, and coming face to face with villain after villain with Joker leading the charge. To be honest though, the story itself isn't the most memorable thing. It also definitely assumes that you know at least a good amount of Batman lore before playing. Thankfully, I do. But if you don't know who Scarecrow is, then you're not gonna know why the devs threw in a Spider-Man Web of Shadows for the PS2 reference, and I feel sorry for you. While the story is a fun romp, It isn't something I particularly remembered or cared about while playing. None of the characters really grow or change. Batman still helps people, Joker still kills people, they still want to kiss each other but won't admit it. Nothing really changes. And that's fine. I don't need them to change, and I don't even want them to change. These two should be static characters. Hell, a majority of the cast should be static characters. However, nothing around them really changes either. After the credits roll, everything honestly goes back to square one, except for maybe a random side character being killed, or Batman running over Bane at one point, killing him. And when it comes to the ending, well, I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed. By the way, if you don't want to get spoiled, you can skip to the time on screen right now. I have heard of how the ending was bad or whatever, but I didn't think it could be that bad. And I was right, for the most part. It's just underwhelming. Joker this whole time has been trying to get this Titan formula, a version of what Bane uses to become, well, you know, Bane, for himself in order to make an army of Titans under his control. Now, I don't mind that at all. It sounds very comic booky and makes sense as an enemy in a video game for the player to fight. But in the end, after you destroy almost all the Titan serum, Joker injects himself with what little remains and becomes a Titan himself. And the fight with a Titan-infused Joker isn't even really with the Joker himself. He sends his lackeys at you while he gloats with his back towards you the whole time. You pull him down, beat him up, he jumps back up to gloat some more, rinse and repeat until he's beaten. Everybody gets put back in their cells, Titan-infused inmates go back to normal, including the Joker, Scarecrow gets eaten by Croc, and Batman leaves. Mission accomplished. The whole story is just a thing that happened one time. But that's not the case here, since the sequel, Arkham City, is directly linked to and makes references to Arkham Asylum. In fact, the whole driving force of City's story hinges on what happened in Asylum, which I think is pretty interesting since not much of note happened here. All in all, I think Asylum was a really good time. It has some hiccups here and there, but considering this came out back in 2009 where superhero games were all over the place, I think it did the best we could have ever hoped for. It nails its atmosphere, its acting, its gameplay, even if it's a little bit clunky at times. And I'm not trying to compare here, but like I said, I think my biggest issues with the game is just that I know what it becomes in the future. I know that in City, the combat is so much smoother and more refined, so playing it now can be a little bit frustrating at times. I know that the exploration is much more fun and the gliding mechanic being developed into a much more interesting thing that, hot take, might be more engaging to me than Spider-Man's free roam. Now, am I saying this because I like gliding a lot and I haven't played Spider-Man in a few years? I don't know, let me go check. Yeah, Spider-Man's better. I think that if my biggest problem for an older game is that it's great, but the sequel is even better, then I think that's the best complaint I can have. I'm really glad I was able to finally play and beat this game after 20 years. Oh my god, it's been 17 years since this game came out. Okay, quarter-life crisis aside, let's move on to Arkham City, my favorite superhero game of all time. In some ways, City is very similar to Asylum. They share a lot of animations in and out of combat, the fighting system has stayed the same, except now there are a lot more gadgets to mess around with mid-combat, and even some extra playable characters that I'll talk about in a minute. Like I said, the combat system itself has stayed the same, however, now it is way faster. I mean, Batman is zipping around now like he's an actual superhuman. Remember when I missed someone because they were 5 feet away from me? Well, now they wish they were 50 feet away from me, because Batman will fucking fly across the room to punch you in the dick. It's incredibly satisfying and makes combat even more fun to engage with, which when I first played this as a kid, I didn't even think was possible. But here we are, and it's amazing. There's even an arena game mode for you to fight and get high scores in. I mean, Asylum had this too, but the combat just wasn't as fun as it is in City, so I didn't really mess with it too much. But here, oh buddy, I'm playing this all night. Am I good at combat? I'm gonna say no. The better question is, am I addicted to the combat? Yes. And then there's the city. This is awesome! Arkham City is so much more fun to explore than the island, and traversing it is so much fun too, especially after upgrading your grapple, which I don't care if it's optional, you have to do it, so you can zip to any building and fly off instantly, sending you straight into a glide. And the gliding itself, oh my god, it's so fun. Again, it's another simple mechanic. You can only really grapple, glide, and dive, but pulling it off in succession is just too damn fun. Is it more fun than Spider-Man? Hold on, let me check. Yeah, Spider-Man's still better. Thank you. And yeah, the city's not the biggest map in the world, especially not by today's standards, but it doesn't feel small because of how detailed it is and how much there is to do in it. This is the gameplay section though, so let's talk about the content first. Everywhere you go could be a location for a new side quest. You have the Deadshot quest where you have to triangulate his shots, the Mr. Freeze quest where you have to try to find his missing wife, and of course, you have the Riddler's trophies and riddles. I'm not very good at solving riddles as my brain is very small, but I do like solving puzzles to collect trophies. Now, did I collect all the trophies for this video? No. Not at all. There's like 400 of those fuckers. I'm not doing all that. But for the ones I did find, I really enjoyed looking for and finding. Each one has a unique puzzle to solve in order to collect them, so you really have to apply yourself. Or you can just blow up a wall and pick it up. Yeah, since there's so many trophies, there's only really so much you can do with each one. It's like a Mario Odyssey moon situation. Since there's so many moons to collect, a lot of them are just sitting there, waiting for you to collect them. And yeah, collecting each trophy, just like a moon, is really satisfying. But when they're just sitting there, it kind of takes away some of the magic. Like, oh yeah, this one really had my gears turning. Yeah, this one's a real brain wrinkler, let me tell you. Going back to the side quests for a moment, while they are fun to do and have interesting stories, they can sometimes be a little bit annoying. Like, I have been running around trying to find this Deadshot bullet for hours, and I cannot find it for the life of me. And when you're not actively trying to do the mission, you have to wait for it to find you. I still haven't completed the phone missions where you have to just wait for a phone to ring around you and then track down where the killer is because the phones haven't rang. Oh wait, there's one now. Hello? Approved for a loan, you say? And I know if one phone rings, you have to just look for another one, but it is just kind of waiting and sometimes feels like chance, at least from my experience. And then you have Catwoman. Look, I didn't know where else to put her in the script, okay, so now she's here. There will be sections of the game where you have to play as Catwoman and see her small but entertaining enough side of the story. Overall, I find her really fun to play. You get unique gadgets to mess around with, which are actually pretty fun to use, and she has her own version of traversal for the city too. It's not the most fun traversal since you have to constantly climb every building you want to scale, which the city is filled with, I don't know if you noticed, but I still had fun playing as her, especially in the combat sections. I really liked playing as Catwoman. I just really found her fun. Maybe it's the animation. I can see everything about her gameplay being really good for a more level-based stealth combat game where you have to steal jewels and other morally gray stuff. Make it happen, someone at Warner Brothers. I don't know if Rocksteady can do it anymore nowadays. Oh my god, avert your eyes! Think of the children! Once again, I think the art direction is extremely well done. Gone is the washed out greens and in is the muted blue. With the game taking place in December, blue is everywhere to emphasize the cold, not only literally with how cold it actually is, but with how cold the city is to the people in it. Thugs are forced by their bosses to be outside, freezing their asses off. Other thugs are bullying the poor reporter stuck inside. And I'm really hoping this is dog poop I stepped on again. And when it comes to the city itself, I mean, look at it. Everywhere you look at, there are callbacks, Easter eggs, and just really well-designed architecture. I look all over the city sometimes, and honestly, it just blows me away. This place just screams Gotham with its gothic yet modern buildings. The buildings themselves have been destroyed to all hell. They have banners hanging off them, graffiti all over the walls. I mean, look at this one. It says subscribe to Nikki Nobicki. Oh, you guys! And the inside of the buildings are arguably even better, even if it's not a good argument. Each building has its own memorable area and theme. I mean, there's a dinosaur and shark in the museum. That's awesome! The museum specifically is my favorite, with how many little things you can interact with where Penguin tells you the description of what it is you're looking at. I've said it before, but it's literally one of my favorite things about these games. Each game visually and thematically feels so loved. And I think it's something that gives these games a little bit more of an edge compared to other superhero games. Yeah, swinging around New York is really fun, but it's just New York again. That's why I really like the Miles Morales game, because it was New York, but at least it was snowing. It's just something a little bit different. Here in the Batman games, you get those differences with each one, and I love it. The developers clearly put a lot of work into the art style and details in these games, and I would hate to not mention it given the chance. Arkham City takes place 1 year after Asylum. And within that 1 year, Gotham has taken that asylum from the island and moved it into Gotham City. Hugo Strange, a character I have no knowledge of other than he voices Diz in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Wake up, Mr. Wayne.
Oh my god, is that fucking Diz from Kingdom Hearts?
Has taken over as warden of the asylum, with Protocol 10 being his main objective. What is Protocol 10? No one knows. All we know is that as warden, Hugo has brought the asylum into Gotham itself in its own closed-off section, with every single villain from street thug to supervillain residing in it. Because that's the smart thing to do. He's a scientist, you wouldn't understand. By using power, politics, and money, Bruce Wayne tries to use his influence to get the city removed and back onto an island to keep the citizens safe. Which, ironically, ends up getting him thrown into the city himself as a prisoner. And after being captured by the Penguin and beating off a few of his thugs, beating off, pause. And after being okay, I'm sorry. Okay. And after being captured by the Penguin and beating a few of his thugs up with his hands cuffed, by the way. God, he's so cool. Bruce climbs up a building where he contacts Alfred to send him his bat suit. After equipping himself with his gear, Batman runs off to the city to find out what it is that Hugo Strange is really planning. Once again, a great narrative hook. Instantly, I am ready to figure out why Hugo has brought the asylum to Gotham itself and how it can benefit him at all. And to do so, you must fight many villains from Batman's rogue gallery. We got the Penguin, Two-Face, Mr. Freeze, Riddler, and of course, the Joker is back again. Except this time, he's noticeably, how do I put this lightly, ugly, after a rather brief encounter with Harley. Joker stabs Batman from behind, pause, and Harley knocks him out. When Batman comes to, Joker explains to him that the Titan serum from the last game has poisoned his blood and is slowly killing him. And now, since he's injected some of his own blood into Batman, along with shipments filled to the brim ready to be spread across Gotham City, Batman must find a cure not only for himself, but for the sake of Gotham citizens too. Oh, and Protocol 10?
Never heard of it.
Arkham City has two main stories happening at all times. Joker and his blood, and Hugo with Protocol 10. Both just as important as the other. Batman has to run around the city beating up villains, teaming up with villains, reject godhood, trip balls, get cucked, and save the city all in one night from two supervillains at the same damn time. This guy's got a lot of pressure on him. The story this time around is a lot more engaging and actually has consequences in the end. Things actually change. We actually learn more about this version of Batman. Like, we learned he had a relationship with Talia, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, who, if you don't know, is basically an immortal being because he takes really good baths. And of course, the ending is pretty great. Once again, if you don't want to get spoiled on the story, you can skip to this time on screen right now. By the end of the game, you'll learn Hugo's big, mischievous Protocol 10, which is just blowing the whole city up. Yeah, I thought maybe this would be a little bit more clever, but no, just bomb them, fuck it. Maybe that was even more clever, you wouldn't have thought that. And the reason he did all of this was to get on Ra's al Ghul's good side. You see, only one person can live forever because of the magical bubble bath, and Ra's agreed to let Hugo take his place if he agreed to destroy the city and kill Batman alongside. However, in a surprising turn of events, Ra's literally backstabs Hugo. Turns out, Ra's figured Batman would be a better candidate for his immortal hot springs and had no more use for Hugo. Hugo then activates Protocol 11, blowing up the building that they are all inside of. This forces Batman and Ra's to jump out just before it explodes. But while Batman can glide safely away, Ra's must land on the ground in a manner that won't kill him. Oh my god! He's not coming back in Rush Hour 3. That's it, he's fucking dead. Like, actually, he's dead, he's gone. In fact, that's it for Ra's and Hugo. No final fight with Ra's or anything. Earlier in the game, you did have a long fight with Ra's, but there was no final fight with Ra's, which I thought would have been cool. It's just, poof, they're dead. It's kind of disappointing. I would have really liked to duke it out with Ra's again after this revelation. It would have been cool to not have any weird trippy shit this time. Just a mano-a-mano fight, you know? I feel like that would have really cemented a feeling of finality with this side of the story. Without a fight, it kind of just falls flat. Or rather limp, if you know what I'm saying. But the real fun is about to start with Joker coming back into the picture. To make a long story short, Joker, after stealing Batman's ex for a little while, being promised immortality from her dad's bathtub, lures Batman into a fight with Clayface in order to try and kill him once and for all. But when Batman ultimately defeats Clayface and destroys Rage's bathtub, Batman is left with a choice: to let Joker take the antidote and save him from his deadly disease, or to let the Joker inevitably die. If he does the latter, countless people will be saved. No more Joker running around causing chaos and death. Him dying would be a net positive for Gotham. Hell, for the world. But Before he can make his decision, Joker comes in and stabs Batman, causing him to drop the cure onto the ground, destroying it. Joker tries to get his fill, licking it from off the ground, but nothing works. Soon, he'll be dead. But before he does, Batman tells him something. That even after everything the Joker has ever done, he still would have saved him. Joker, this entire game, was so scared of death. He knew from the beginning that Batman wouldn't save him dying from a disease. So, in order to save himself, not only does he have to infect Batman, but he has to infect all of Gotham too. Joker knows that Batman can't help but save everyone he can, including him. But, in a moment of what I believe is fear, Joker stabs Batman in the back. Not because he wants to kill him, but with the antidote being made and ready to save everyone, he couldn't possibly imagine that Batman would save him at that point. Which is crazy because of how utterly predictable Batman is. He will always try to save everyone, no matter who they might be. He even holds a dying Hugo, the guy who just spent the last 10 minutes blowing up Gotham City after being stabbed by Rage. You think he wouldn't save Joker given the chance? I know he looks like a devil incarnate, but he's got a heart of gold. At the end of the day though, Joker himself turned out to be the biggest joke of them all. Which, I mean...
That actually is pretty funny.
While both these games aren't perfect, I think they both still hold up extremely well in the modern day. They are just as well made as any other AAA title coming out nowadays. Though I mean, that's a pretty low bar to be fair. Yeah, I have my issues with them, but these issues don't frustrate me nearly enough to not ever recommend them. So to answer my question from the beginning, yes, it seems my ass was right all along. These are some of the best superhero games of all time. In fact, I'm inclined to say that Batman Arkham City is the best superhero game of all time. That's right, I said it. I'm expecting Spider-Man fans to tell me why I'm wrong. And please, go ahead. Tell me what your favorite superhero game is and why down in the comments below. Or just who your favorite superhero is in general if they don't have a game. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you would like to see me do a video on Batman Arkham Knight, please leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!
You didn't have to come.